This is where it gets interesting, because now all of a sudden you're no longer seduced by the conditions in your outer world. In fact, you're seeing the hidden meaning behind everything because you're viewing it from a greater level of consciousness. Right. So sitting in the fire of your guilt, sitting in the fire of your pain, and knowing what to do when that happens, and teaching people that as they begin to lower the volume to those emotions, as they begin to self-regulate, that's the greatest challenge they have in their lives. I mean, people say to me, what do you do in the morning? Well, 2 hours in the morning, that's a lot of time. Well, if I can overcome myself at the beginning of the day, the rest of my day is easy. Because my brain waves are just right. I don't have to work as hard. Yeah, my body's a little fatigued, but I'm between worlds. And so my body's a little tired, but I get up and do it. And to me, I allow for 2 hours. Sometimes I can nail it in 45 minutes or an hour, and sure, I'm done. Other times, I'm on the wrong time zone. I have meetings all day long. I got a lot going on, and I'm just not going to fall prey to that common state of thinking. It's the work that we do. It's the work that we do. And the first part in truly creating a new personal reality is overcoming your present personality. You got to get beyond the normal thinking patterns, the normal urges of action and habits, to get beyond certain emotions that are residuals from the day before. That's the work right there. That's the part you have to overcome. So some days you just kind of slip in and it's magic because you've been practicing, like having a great golf game or a great tennis game or a great run or a great session of knitting. You're in your groove. Other days you got to work a little bit more for it. And for me, what I've learned is those hard days, the days that are the most challenging, are always the most rewarding, because now you're uncompromising to an outcome. And if it takes you an hour to get beyond yourself, to find the present moment, because that's the only place where the unknown exists, the familiar emotions and hardwired patterns of the past are the known, the predictable future in trying to forecast the feeling of every event in our life, what people do unconsciously, is also the known. There's only one place where the unknown exists, and that's the present moment.
You call it the generous present moment.
Yeah, and I've just done it enough times, and there are plenty of people in our work that have done it enough times to know when you're there and when you're not.
Okay.
And when you're not, it's very obvious because you've been there enough times. So
present.
It's just like hitting a tennis ball in a sweet spot. You lock into something and that wholeness starts to happen, and now you're no longer creating from polarity or duality or opposites. People they create when they see they don't have something. Whether, hey, nice suit, I want one of those, right? And the moment I see that you have a nice suit and I start thinking, I want one of those, my brain naturally starts putting me in the equation. Next thing you know, I'm wearing your suit. Well, that's because we're wired to do that. So then we have this natural ability to create. The problem is after you imagine that, you open your eyes and you don't have it, people experience more lack. Well, we're not that good yet. So then the act of practicing enough times and beginning to create the state in which you're so connected to the energy of your future. Now think about this. You're so connected to the energy of your future, you're no longer looking for it or waiting for it. You feel like it's already happened. The moment you get upset in traffic, the moment you start judging a coworker, you just disconnected from the energy of your future, and now you're back to the energy of your past. Now, if you tell me it was that person that did it to you, I'd say to you, oh, you're back to the unconscious program of being a victim again. So then the person then goes, oh, when did I fall from, that state? When did I lose it? Oh, it happened at 3 o'clock today. The next time that happens, what can I do differently? Now the person's moving through their challenges in their life with coherence, with rhythm. They're starting to begin to make strides, and that they're no longer knee-jerk. When people can't get up in the morning and they can't get out of bed, I'm going to tell you why. Because they can predict the feeling of everything that's going to happen in their life, and their body's resigned to the familiar. It says, oh, another mundane day. But remember when you were a kid and you were going on a field trip? What happened then? You were up and dressed and ready to go before your parents were up. You know why? Because you knew something unexpected was going to happen. That's how we should live our lives. waking up with the understanding to expect the unexpected, and something unusual should happen in our life as a result of our efforts. And it's just those beginning moments where it begins to happen that we begin to prove to ourselves how powerful we really are. Take time in the morning and the evening and the rest of the day, check in with yourself at certain times to see if you're still in that energy. And if you're not, excuse yourself for a second, raise your energy, and step back into your life. If you keep doing that over and over again, you'll become less frustrated, less impatient, less judgmental. It'll just become something of the past, and you'll be someone else. When you finish a meditation, if you get up feeling the same way as you sat down, nothing really happened. Nothing happened neurologically, biologically, chemically, hormonally, genetically. You're still in the same state of being. But when you get up and you feel like an elevated sense of self, and your heart is swollen, and you have a clear vision of your future, and your energy's different, the question is, how long can you maintain that state? So you're literally broadcasting a whole new electromagnetic signature in that state. Thoughts tend to be electric and feelings tend to be magnetic. And the way we think and feel is what we broadcast into the field. And what we broadcast into the field is our experiment with destiny. So then when you go within and you disconnect from your outer world and you sit your body down and it's no longer experiencing anything and you're not thinking about your schedule, your past, or your future, as I said today, you're being defined by thought. And you're making your inner world more real than your outer world. When you open your eyes and you present yourself to the world, the job then is to not react emotionally to the same conditions in your life, because the moment you react emotionally, you're equal to the conditions in your life and you're back in your past. So then when you fall from grace and you move off that state, then you sit down and you realign. You begin to tune in again and you change your energy again. Now, when I'm going through change in my life, or I have a specific outcome that I want to create, I love to get up early in the morning. That's my time. I'm a 4:30 in the morning guy because that's my time. The rest of the day I'm serving, but I love getting up early and changing, working, and having some time to myself. And I believe that when I invest in myself, I invest in my future. And that time in my morning, nobody bothers me because that's my time. And because of brain waves and brain chemistry, the door between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is more open. And so if I get up early and I'm kind of between theta and alpha, I don't have to work as hard. I'm not thinking, I just kind of relax into the moment. In the evening, I always ask myself, how did I do? How was one lifetime in one day? Where did I fall from grace? What happened? And so then when I look at seeing how I reacted to someone or something, or I made the choice that I could have made a better choice, I naturally, and we all do this, begin to think, well, if the same situation happened again, how would I do it differently? And that's the act of beginning to come up with a new plan. The act of rehearsing it in your mind begins to install the circuits in your brain, priming your brain so that when the next experience happens, you could modify your behaviors to do a better job in life. That's called plasticity. If you decide, okay, if I'm taking time out of my busy life to emulate the divine, a creator, then if I'm going to create something unlimited, I better feel unlimited. If I'm going to do something magnificent, I have to become magnificent. And if you keep doing that over and over again, it will begin to become more readily available to you. It'll get easier. And so when we're in that energy all the time, that's when the synchronicities and the serendipities and all those wonderful coincidences begin to happen. And it's those coincidences that are feedback in our environment where the field begins to open doors for us. That's what we want to occur. Now, I have worked on things in my life, and I'm a sincere person. I've worked on things in my life for years. And I always thought it was about the event or the experience I wanted to create, but all along I was changing. And when I finally reached a point where I could care less if I could have the experience is the moment it happened. But all along, the divine, loving intelligence, this mother-father principle, of course it's observing us into life. We are vitalistic, energetic beings that when we begin to unify all these principles that we're talking about, you can't get this in one sitting. You can't. You have to keep understanding it, keep reviewing it, keep redoing it, keep experiencing it. And the new experience then causes you to dream in a way you would have never dreamt before unless you had that experience. And that's how God gets to know itself. So then, I don't care what meditation you do, I just like the fact that you're connecting. And the more you connect and the more whole you feel, the more natural it becomes. And then, of course, the next experience then causes you to dream in another way. And what I know from my own experience and many students, it's not about material things. It's about those mystical moments, those transcendental moments, those moments where your jaw drops and you are in awe of life. Those moments that take our breath away, that cause us. And this has happened to me so many times. Every time I have one of those experiences, I think to myself, I got this all wrong. I've got this all wrong. Some veil has been lifted, and now I'm seeing more clearly about the way things really are.
I'm curious, I want everyone listening for the next 7 days to try something. And if you could give 1 to 3 different things that we could think differently or eliminate when a thought comes to us or we react in a certain way, if there's something you think that if we eliminated 1, 2, or 3 things, and we did this every day for 7 days, we would start to see incredible feelings of differently, would feel healthier, more lively, more loved. What would be those few things?
Okay, well, most people, number one, they get up in the morning and the first thing they do is they think about the problems in their life. And those problems are memories from the past. So the moment they think about their problems, they're thinking in the past, right? Every one of those problems has an emotion attached to them. So they start feeling unhappy or unworthy or whatever. And how you think and how you feel is your state of being. So most people's entire state of being is in the past when they start the day. So if they're in the familiar past, they're going to live in a predictable future, right? So they get up and they check their cell phone, they check their text, their WhatsApp, their Facebook, they post something on Facebook, they tweet, they Twitter, they check the news, then they go to the bathroom, get a cup of coffee, take a shower, get dressed, check more emails, drive to work the same way, do the same thing. So they're in a program. They've actually lost their free will to the program.
Wow.
So if you start your day, and you start your day with this simple question, what is the greatest ideal of myself that I can be today? You ask yourself that question. And now listen, your body's going to go like, well, we got to get a cup of coffee, and you got to
tired.
I'm tired, and you got to go, body, you're not the mind, I'm the mind right now. You're going to sit here, I'm going to feed you, you're going to get your coffee, you're going to do all those things, but right now, this is my time. You're going to obey me, right? So now, the body's no longer the mind, you're the mind. And so when it wants to get up and you become aware of it, and return back to the present moment, every time you do that's a victory. Wow. And you're changing some aspect of yourself. So then, ask yourself, I do this all the time, write down 4 thoughts that you're going to stay conscious of the whole day. I can't, it's too hard. You'd be surprised the moment you become conscious of what those thoughts are, how unconscious you've been to them all day, for weeks on end. Write down what you speak, how you speak, 4 things you want to change, how you act. How do you act? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? That's a victim consciousness. What emotions do you live by? Is it possible that you're so used to living by guilt you don't even know it's guilt, it just feels like you? Do you allow your energy to drop? Become conscious of those states of mind and body and review them and say, this is the old self. Then say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? And start firing and wiring and start feeling it. What behaviors will I demonstrate today? What choices will I make? One day, one lifetime. And just like you did, rehearse them. Rehearse the whole entire thing. Begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain. And if you keep installing it, the hardware is going to become a software program, and you're going to start thinking and acting that way. And then here's the tough part. Can you teach your body emotionally what your future is going to feel like before it's made manifest? And don't get up until you feel that way. Now, practice that for a few days, and then see if you can stay in that state and watch all of a sudden all those weird doors start opening for you. Synchronicities, whatever they are. Number 2, take a time at the end of your day, before you lay down, and give thanks for your life and feel gratitude. And really teach your body what it feels like. The emotional signature of gratitude. When gratitude means you're getting something. If I give you something that's of value, you would say thank you because you would feel it, right? So when you're receiving, you're giving thanks. So gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. So then people only accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to their emotional state. So if you're in a state of gratitude, every thought's going to make it right down into your body. If you're saying, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, and your body's programmed in negativity, it's saying, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not, that thought's going to stop right here. So as you elevate your state, there are about 1,200 different chemical reactions that go on in the body that begin to restore and repair the body in a state of gratitude. And so we've done the research to prove that. 10 minutes and just feel it with all of your heart. That's it. Wow. Third thing, and very important, take time, whenever it is, sit down, close your eyes, and begin to just open your awareness to the space around you and just sense it and pay attention to it and become more aware of it. The act of opening your awareness begins to reduce the stress hormones and creates more coherent brainwave states. And I'm doing it right now. And it's just a practice.
Yeah.
It's just a practice. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Wow. Who's been your greatest teacher?
Ooh, life, no doubt about it. I believe that life is our initiation. I mean, I do my best to see my life as a reflection of my mind, and I think that life is our greatest teacher.
Reflection of your mind is essentially like what you've created is a reflection of how you've been thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're showing up sick physically, then that's what you've created in your mind.
Look, I don't believe that germs make me sick. I believe I make me sick. Mm-hmm. I do. I mean, there's no germs with my name on it out there. I mean, they're called opportunistic bacteria because they're waiting for an opportunity for your immune system to be compromised. And so, for me personally, you have to ask myself this question every day. At what point do I stop believing that I create my life? What is that point? So I'm always pushing that envelope a little bit more. So for me, I think life is our initiation. We don't need to go to any ancient school of wisdom in the Himalayas. Life is our initiation, and when you meet the challenges in your life from a greater level of mind, you're going to begin to move through those initiations. And what is the side effect of that? Wisdom. And that's what we take with us, being wise.
Powerful.